What is up, everyone? Welcome to episode 88 of the Gaming Duo podcast. I'm Kelvin, the Kevlar Vest, your host for this week, and I'm joined by co-host Rob, the Robot Garcia. And our special guest for this week is a screenwriter, author, and streamer under the name 8-Bit Terror, as well as the host of the Days Gone podcast. Let's welcome Claire Weaver. How are you, Claire?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thank you so much. This is genuinely an honor to be on the podcast. I love you guys, and I love everything you do. So I'm really honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you for coming. We, for those that don't know, we've had Claire on sort of like a collaboration project before, way back in December, when we did the multiverse episodes, right? With
It was in December. Wow.
It was December. Yeah. Crazy, right?
Yeah, and that was with Video Games and Coffee, right?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
So, and I recommend, if you guys haven't watched that, I recommend watching that. It is a great three-parter episode where we just
long
discuss
convo.
Yeah, we discuss all about our strengths and weaknesses of just like starting out as podcasters, and just like we go into really deep stuff. So definitely recommend that if you have not checked that out. But Claire, how you doing? How's everything going? What's new?
Everything's going great. What's new is I'm living in a different state from the last time we all talked. I'm in Colorado now, so a few life changes, and then just been amping up the streaming and the podcast and the screenwriting and everything. Just keeping me super busy.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm surprised you didn't move to Oregon.
I know. I did actually look at house prices there. It's a little out of my price range. A little
Yeah, it's
pricey
nuts.
in Oregon.
So you were in LA before, correct?
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly. Okay.
Yep,
so
that's right.
without going into too much detail, was there a specific reason why you kind of moved over, like work purposes, or was there anything specific?
Not to start on too much of a downer, but it was divorce.
Oh, okay. Well,
that's
start
I
fresh.
Thought it was,
yeah,
I thought it was work related.
No,
anyways.
just a fresh start, and Colorado just seemed like a beautiful place to live. So why the fuck not?
I've heard it's beautiful. Definitely.
Yeah.
Have you gone, Rob?
I haven't been to Colorado. Actually, no, I have been to Colorado. I've been to Denver, but only to the airport. I drove through Iowa. Wait, no, it does count. Okay, wait. I drove through Iowa to Nebraska into Colorado to take a flight out of Denver. So I technically was in Colorado, all right? Because I was driving in Colorado. So I've been there. All right.
So you've driven and flown through Colorado, but you haven't visited Colorado.
I haven't actually enjoyed Colorado, I guess is the better way of saying that.
Exactly. Guys, if you're new to the show, welcome. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. We are the podcast that discusses the latest gaming news each and every Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. If you want to support us, you can definitely do so by heading on over to your favorite streaming service, Apple, Spotify, or by going on over to thegamingduopod.com and leaving us a review. Let us know how we're doing. You can also now support us on patreon.com/thegamingduo. You'll be able to have access to our exclusive Discord channel, exclusive gear, shoutouts on weekly episodes, and so much more. That's patreon.com/thegamingduo. Rob, what have you been playing?
I've been going crazy.
You've been going nuts, dude.
I've been going nuts. First, I'll start off with I started a new part-time job at a local video game store, like a retro video game store. So being able to like go back into that and like be talking about video games in real life with people and stuff like that, that was actually a pretty fun experience to do that. And again, it's just not my day job or anything like that, but it's fun to kind of just talk games in person with people.
And you like it so far?
It's cool. I mean, I was telling you, one person brought in, I don't know about the GameCube, but there was a Ethernet adapter that you could attach to the GameCube, so you could play games, multiplayer games on the internet. And I was like, I forgot that was a thing, that you could actually play multiplayer games on the GameCube. So, little stuff like that is awesome. One person brought in the DK bongos.
I feel like that's a regular. Like everyone does that. You know what I mean? Like everyone just brings it into like a local shop and just be like, here, I don't want this anymore.
Right, you know? Exactly. But to that, it's like someone else is like a treasure. But I've been playing a ton of stuff on my Steam Deck. I'm just going to run through a list. Assassin's Creed Origins, Death Stranding I've been playing. I've been playing Mortal Kombat 11. I've been playing, I think that's maybe, Ghost of Tsushima. I tried that for the first time.
Okay. Tell us about that.
Ghost of Tsushima, I'll start first. Incredible game. like my girlfriend and me were sitting on the couch when I booted it up, and she's like, "This is a video game. This looks like a movie." So the fact that like she was even like, "Wow, okay, this is crazy. Like, the graphics are insane," and very much so. It plays like a movie, and was thoroughly impressed so far. Only in like the first beginning of the game, but
sure,
it's definitely lots to absorb there. And Death Stranding, I know I have some separate thoughts about that. It's an interesting game. I'm enjoying it somewhat. But you said give it more time. That's what you said.
Give it more time, I said. Yeah. I mean, I'm not the person to be talking about it because I kind of fell off on it, but I do want to get back into it at some point. Right. But you're really early into the game, so I feel like just give it a little bit more time before you make a final definitive edition or a definitive answer to it,
Claire, have you tried Death Stranding yet or no?
I have not. I actually bought it. I bought it about a year ago thinking, I am totally going to play this game. And then I've just been playing Days Gone since then. So, and now I have a PlayStation 5. I really wanted to get the director's cut, and it wasn't I only had a PlayStation 4 at the time, so I bought the PlayStation 4 regular version, and now I have a PlayStation 5. I totally could get the director's cut.
Yeah, I mean, you can get it if you have PlayStation Plus. You can get it for free, essentially.
Yeah.
I do. Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you get the extra, well worth it. By the way, we have it, and you get to download anything you basically want. They have everything on there. They have the Tsushima game. They have
Stray, the cat game.
They have that. They have all the Assassin's Creeds. Every single one is on there. So,
now is this on
Days Gone? They have Days Gone. Let's go.
Yeah, Days Gone.
Because I had PlayStation Plus, and now I know they've done the tiers. And I'm on the middle tier of the three.
I think that's what that's
extra. That's the name of it. Yeah, PlayStation Extra and then Premium, and I don't know the last one.
Because Essentials is the basic one.
The basic level. Yes. So I am above that. So if I'm able to download it, then you're definitely able to download it as well. Right. So check that out.
Cool.
Anything else besides Days Gone that you've been playing?
Me? I've been playing Dying Light. I know it's a little bit of an older game, but I've just been getting into that. And Zombie Army Trilogy as well.
Zombie Army Trilogy.
Never heard of that.
I've heard of that, but
the Zombie Army 4, but Zombie Army Trilogy was the precursor to that. It's the Sniper Elite series, but with zombies. So it's World War II. Hitler has resurrected the dead in an attempt to win the war. So you're killing zombie Nazis. It's so much fun. I fucking love it.
That's awesome.
Sorry, I hope it's okay that I swear because
fuck yeah, let's go.
Zombie Army is how do you spell? I'm sorry. How do you spell this game?
Zombie Army.
Okay.
Oh,
got
it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I've seen this game. Yeah. No,
yeah, I actually stream that on Sundays. I was doing a Sniper Sundays live stream, and that's the one. Oh, that's Zombie Army 4.
Which one are you playing?
I'm playing the trilogy, which is the precursor to that.
It
came out in like 2015 or something. It's a little bit of an older game. I was playing Sniper Elite, really digging that. And then I switched to, I was doing 4, and then I switched to switched to Sniper Elite 5. Didn't really like it so much. It was a little too serious, a little too slow, a little too heavy-handed. So I switched it up and went to Zombie Army Trilogy and was like, screw it, let's just kill some Nazi zombies and have a lot of fun.
100%.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just run down real quick what I'm playing.
Yeah, what are you playing, bro?
I've been playing Multiverses again, as per usual, right? But I also picked up a game, a little older title as well, called A Plague's Tale. I'm sure you guys heard of it.
Oh yeah, how is that? Is it good?
It is phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
It is really good. I will say it's not like a AAA game. It's more like a AA kind of like. It's like in the middle.
More than indie, but not AAA.
For sure. Exactly, 100%. Right in the middle. And it does a great job of storytelling. I think the characters are really great. Voice acting is pretty good sometimes in different parts. Like there's parts where it's just like, that's a little cringy here and there. But overall, I think the game is solid. I'm having a great time playing it. It's a great story as well. It makes you want to like finish the game. And it's fun. It's like a fun kind of like a stealth action game, sort of. It's really cool. I definitely
Is that the
recommend
one
it.
with the rats?
Yes.
Well,
is it helping
A
you?
Plague's Tale. So
A Plague's Tale. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Yep. Now, is it helping you getting over your fear of rats?
You have a fear of rats?
What? I have a phobia. It's up there. Yeah, it's kind of close to a phobia. So yeah, I have a fear of rats. Thank you for announcing that to everybody.
Hey man, I gotta let them know. I gotta let them know.
But you know what? The rats here are fine. You know what I mean? The rats here, they don't really bother me because
they're on the screen, right?
They're afraid of light, which is kind of like the whole concept of this game. So you have to be in light in every part of the game, or you have to have like some type of torch to kind of traverse through the game. But once your light runs out, then you're pretty much screwed.
It's like Amnesia.
The rats really don't. Yeah, exactly. But the rats don't really like scare me here because they don't really look like rats. They're like little black, I don't know. They're not that like detailed.
They're not right next to you. You don't see it scurrying across your living room floor, and
no. But it is fun. It is on Game Pass right now. If you guys want to check it out, 100% worth the download, 100% worth the play. I think it's leaving soon though, so you might want to get that real soon. So if I play it on my Steam Deck, is that going to go away?
What do you mean by going away?
Like, I'm not going to be able to play it on my Steam Deck, right? I have to download it on my PC for me to finish the game. If like they've completely,
if they decide to pull it from Xbox Game Pass, and you're connected to the internet, it's not going to let you play it anymore. You don't get that game. You don't get that game for life. Basically, like if you install it, you basically are getting the rights to play it, but you don't actually own the game per se.
Right.
I hate that about streaming games.
Right.
I'm like old school. Give me the disc and let me put it in the machine. I missed one off my list. I'm sorry. I'm The Last of Us, the remake. I've been playing that as well. Sorry, I just remembered.
And how would you? Is that your first time playing?
You've been streaming that too, right?
Yes, I've been streaming it, and I'm a huge fan of the series. Well, the first one. And so I've played it. I don't know, maybe a dozen times.
Yeah.
And so playing the new one, I'm actually doing 2 playthroughs at the same time. I have my private personal playthrough where I'm just having fun, and then I have the one that I'm streaming on Tuesday nights. I stream that. So I'm still pretty early games. I've only done 2 episodes of that so far. But it's cool. They did a few little updates. It's basically the same game. They did a few little tweaks that I've noticed where it's just improved. It's just more polished.
Okay.
And the graphics are incredible.
I like a little polish in my games,
Yeah.
So ask what you were going to say. I think you were going to say the same thing I was going to ask.
Is it worth the $70 price tag?
If you played it already.
I think it is. But I'm a huge fan. I describe it as being like the dead center of my wheelhouse. Like it's everything I like in a game. It's post-apocalyptic, it's zombies, it's stealth-based. It has kind of an upgrade system, but it's not too complicated. So I don't do sort of big kind of RPG type upgrading characters and things like that. I find that a little overwhelming. The story is fantastic. The visuals are fantastic. So if you're a fan of the game, yes. If you have $70 to spare and you want to replay it and you have a PlayStation 5, yes, it's worth it. If you don't meet that criteria, if you're like, I kind of like the game, then no, it's not going to be worth it because it's basically the same game. They didn't change anything. They just polished a few things.
Polished it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know what we're not playing right now, guys? The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, because it's out May 12th, because Nintendo has given us a fantastic direct that we're going to go through right now for news number 1. First off, juicy tidbits. Again, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom out May 12th. We finally have a release date. We finally have a title for the game. Coming out next year, 2023. We also have Pikmin 4. Pikmin 4, which is like
I like
what
Pikmin.
Is that game? It just finally came out after
just like a truck, just like
it was first announced 2015, and now we're finally getting that game like 7 years later. So kudos to Nintendo for being Nintendo.
Dropping that. But I know there's a ton of fans of that game that went ballistic. I'm not personally a fan, but I'm happy for the fans of that.
Yeah,
that
100%.
Yeah.
I was
Pikmin is awesome. Pikmin rocks.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. I was very happy. Again, not a Pikmin fan, but I can see why people adore it. Fire Emblem Engage kind of engaged me. I was like, all right, this looks pretty dope. Like, I don't know about you guys if you've seen it, but the art style looks really cool. The gameplay, I mean, it's more Fire Emblem, but I don't know. The art style like hooked me for some reason. I'm kind of digging that for sure. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe coming to Switch February 24th, 2023. Octopath Traveler 2 was announced for February 24th, 2023.
That's
a new trailer for Bayonetta 3, which is also coming out October 28th. this year. And then several classic titles coming to Switch online, such as Mario Party, Pokemon, and GoldenEye. People went ballistic for GoldenEye, which, fair enough. I get it.
Well, multiplayer support as well.
Multiplayer support for just the Switch, it seems like. Not even like it's coming out for Xbox and it's coming out for PC, I believe, but it's just support for the Switch, which is bonkers to me. Like Nintendo going hard on online, like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion releasing December 13th, 2022. I think that was their first time with a release date, so that's pretty cool. And then Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Splatoon 3, and Mario Strikers all are getting some type of DLC. Fatal Frame, Mask of the Lunar Eclipse are coming out early 2023. It Takes Two, Sifu, Tales of Symphonia Remastered are also coming to Switch. There was a ton of other announcements. I think there was over like 30 announcements at the Direct. So if you guys want to definitely check out the full Direct, check that out over there. But we just give you like the tidbits of like what was like the popular stuff. So guys, what did you think of the Direct? I'll start with Claire. Did you watch the Direct? Are you like a Nintendo fan? Like what's your engagement with Nintendo?
Not really very engaged with Nintendo, to be honest. I'm a Sony girl.
Okay.
I love my
So you'll like our next
PlayStation.
episode or our next topic.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did see the news about GoldenEye. I did see the news about Pikmin. Very excited for both of those. But honestly, those are games for me that's like, yeah, they're fun, and I won't take it seriously. I'll play it, a little bit, and then that's it. Honestly, I never even finished Pikmin 2. So the fourth one, I was like, wait, there's a third one that I missed? I didn't even know about that.
Fake fan.
Yes. No, OG fan. I like the first one.
I like that.
OG
fan.
Okay. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, honestly, Nintendo's not really. I don't have a Switch. I'm not a Nintendo person. I did like the GameCube back in the day.
Okay. Yeah. Who did it?
The first the Resident Evil remake for the GameCube. That is the best Resident Evil game, hands down. I will fight anyone. This is my hill to die on. That is the best Resident Evil game.
Resident Evil 4. So Resident Evil 4.
Resident Evil 1 remade.
Remade.
GameCube. The
GameCube
GameCube
they still had the jank controls, basically. The one with the jank controls.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
They kept that intact.
That's the best Resident Evil game. You're saying?
No, that's the best one, and just
the best Resident Evil game,
hands down.
In the
She's
franchise.
saying hands down. She will fight you if you say Resident Evil 4 is better. You know what I mean? So you better.
Have you played Resident Evil? Have you played Resident Evil 4? Have you played Resident Evil 4? Have you played Village?
Evil.
I mean,
I've not played Village. I have not played Village.
Village is fine. I don't think it's the best Resident Evil though, Rob. If that's what you're trying to say,
I think it's better than Remake 1.
Remake 1 for the game. I don't know if they did it on any other systems. I just remember it on the GameCube.
I think they've remade that game twice, but like
You're
kept
thinking
the
of
same
the wrong one then.
Control scheme.
Damn.
I don't know. I think I remember the GameCube.
I may also be looking back on this with rose-colored glasses because I played it in like 20 years.
Oh yeah, that'll do it for you for sure.
Yes,
so back to the Direct here. For me, I think it was fair. I think it was fine. I'm kind of like in the middle between Claire and like I don't like I have a Switch. I have like 5 games on my Switch. I play Smash Brothers like to death, but everything else here I don't typically play. Legend of Zelda, I think everyone obviously popped off because that is a massive game. Everyone loves that.
If you haven't seen the trailer, you guys should probably.
The trailer looks dope, but it doesn't really give you much, right? There's not much there besides the title and
it gives you enough. It gives you enough. It gives you just enough. You get that. We want to know what the title was for the longest time, and the release date. We know it's coming in less than a year. So, Claire, have you played any Zelda games?
I actually have not.
You should.
I have not played any. I know. I'm aware that I am lacking in this regard, but no, I've never played any. At this point, it feels a little too hard to access because so many people freak out when you haven't played any. Like, oh my god, how come you haven't played any Zelda games? You got to do this. You got to do that. Blah 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 blah. And you get like inundated with too much.
For sure.
So
I'm right there with you too because I've played Breath of the Wild. I played Wind Waker. I think that's as much as I've got.
Guys are wild, man. It's definitely one of the best series, like game series of all time. But to each their own, right? It's not everyone's cup of tea. But Claire, I dare you to go pick up Breath of the Wild, and I dare you not to get hooked.
Okay, yeah, challenge accepted. Yes, absolutely.
Do you love fun? Do you like fun? Do you like adventure?
I'm partial to a bit of fun. I do like adventure.
All right. Do you like collecting things? Do you like cooking? There's cooking in the game too.
Sure.
Yeah. So it has everything for everyone in that game. It's seriously.
So it's fun, adventure, and cooking. Awesome.
Yes. There you go.
Good.
I don't know who really enjoys cooking. Let's be honest. You know what I mean?
Chefs.
I'm not a
hopefully.
cooker. Yep. That's fair. You're right. You got me there. I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did enjoy that Overcooked game or whatever it was called.
That was stressful.
A fun game.
That was stressful.
Oh my god! I still have like heart palpitations thinking about it. It's one of the most stressful games. But,
is it like Cooking Mama? Is that the name of the game? Is it Overcooked or Cooking Mama?
I played Overcooked 2. I called it Half Baked, but
the one we have to like run around and like get like go to each place and put the ingredient. Yeah,
it's like multiplayer. So you have to like talk to whoever you're playing with and like communicate, and it's good for building communication skills or destroying friendships.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's
I mentioned divorce earlier. That was part of it. No, I'm kidding.
There it is. There you go.
That's how it happened. It was playing Overcooked.
We're playing Overcooked, and it's like, fuck you, I can't do this anymore.
I'm done
divorce.
With
you got to leave a review on their Steam page, being like, "This game caused my divorce."
This game cost me my marriage.
Rob, so what? You being the Zelda fan that you are, what did you think of Tears of the Kingdom? Do you like the name of the game? Like, is this the reason why they delayed it in the UK for not showing this because of Queen Elizabeth?
So yeah, that's 100% why they did not. Because I thought that was weird that they were like, we're showing it everywhere except the UK. And because of the everything happening over there. So I was like, that's okay. It makes kind of sense, but still doesn't really make sense, right? And
speaking as a Brit, sorry to interject, but speaking as a Brit, we do have the internet in the UK, so people will look up why the game was a trailer there, and they will find out.
They
it's like
will
drawing
find
more
it
attention
somehow.
to it. It's like
100%.
Just why not say just because the Queen died, like you're just drawing more attention to it.
100%, and I think that's what they were trying to do. They're trying to not draw a lot of attention to it, but then. You're still going to get people. People are still going to get mad over it. There were still people mad that they dropped. They're like, it was so insensitive of you to drop that name during this time, and it's like, oh my god.
No, it's again speaking as a Brit, it's not insensitive. Like it's a coincidence.
100%. It's not like they planned that. Like, okay, she's gone. Drop the note.
The day after she dies, let's release it. We'll hold on to it until then.
Yeah, I really do think this is going to be somehow better than Breath of the Wild. I mean, I really don't think that people saying it's impossible to top that game, but I think they're just going to add more to it basically and give it an actual story. There's already people talking about story of like conspiracy theories and what's going to happen. And they're literally dissecting every little thing of the trip. Like, see this little graphic here means that this person's alive and this person's going to be a main character. And I was like, guys, you got to chill. It hasn't come out yet. You got to relax,
That's Zelda fans, man. That's your people. You know what I mean? Like,
you guys are wild.
So what did you think of the trailer? Like, is it personally, do you think it gave you enough to be like, all right, I can wait till, May 12th to like play this game, or like, was the trailer enough for you? Because I feel like you guys been in the, like you had nothing until now,
So I know that Nintendo tend to be stingy with these things, and I'm in the camp of it's better than nothing. What we got was better than nothing. Would I have liked to see more gameplay and a little more story elements? 100%. But the fact that we have name, we have release date, that's all I care about. I'm good. Like, it's coming out soon, and I'm going to be able to experience it. So I'm happy for that. And the fact that they ended with that, they're just like, all right, here you go, guys. Have fun. Yeah. What did you think, Kelv, of did you think it was like okay? You're like, whatever.
I think it was good. I'm like, it was very quick. It was very short, like 20-second trailer. I think it was maybe 30 seconds long. But I think it definitely gave, a good insight of what this game is going to be. I thought it was like a fun trailer to watch. Going into some of the other games in the direct, I feel like Fire Emblem again was pretty fun to watch. I think it looks cool. Marth being in the game, that's pretty cool. Octopath Travelers, I've not been a fan of. I never played the first one, but it looks very interesting. I was kind of like put off by the graphics, but I'm kind of like getting back into like the that 16-bit, 8-bit, whatever you want to call it, type of gameplay style. And but other than that, I mean, yeah, we got the release date for Crisis Core, which is great. nothing here really spoke to me. And again, that's not to say by any means that this direct was bad. It just really didn't speak to me as a Nintendo. Like, I'm not a huge Nintendo fan, so I'm just kind of like more of a casual Nintendo fan. So this didn't really speak to me as much. But I'm sure it popped off. Many Nintendo fans are like, "Oh, this was the direct that I've been waiting for." You know what I mean?
Wait till we talk about the Sony showcase, and he's gonna be like, "Yo, it was the best. It was the best thing ever. I love this. This trailer was awesome, and this trailer was awesome." But over here, we got a banger of a direct. It's like, it was okay, it was fine.
I slept through half of it, but what I saw was
yeah, it was all right. So you're saying it was good. You're saying it was like a really good direct.
I think it was solid. I think it was 100% solid. There, I can't really pick anything out that was like really bad about it. It just gave us games and trailers. I do want to point out that Fire Emblem did like Marth and Roy have a kid? Because did you see the main protagonist?
He has like the blue, wrong people.
He's got
because his hair is
like, he has blue hair and red hair. So I'm like, did they
I'm gonna go with yes. I have no idea who you're talking about, but yes.
I'm gonna show you right now. I'm gonna show you.
Can you pull up that fantastic artwork that I posted on Twitter? Because it looks beautiful.
Let's see. I'm gonna pull up the trailer here. Let's do that first. But yeah, Kelvin, you're not a Fire Emblem fan, but does this make you want to try Fire Emblem?
Again, the trailer did. The trailer, I'm like, huh, that looks really cool. If I can just watch the whole game, like instead of play it, because I feel like once I start playing it, I'm gonna be pulled away. Once I start watching, I'm like, all right, this looks cool. You know what I mean? Like, look at that. It looks cool. It just looks dope.
Yeah.
Now, are you a big JRPG fan, Claire, or not really?
Not really. I mean, a few games here and there, but not particularly.
Okay.
Yeah.
It does look pretty though. I don't know this franchise or anything. I don't know this game. But
you're in for a ride, Claire, because these characters are wild. They're just your typical RPG, like
over the top
RPG characters, over the top action, whatever. But the gameplay itself is more. How would you describe it, Rob? Like it's like a
strategy game.
Yeah.
Strategy / RPG. Like you are. It's like a Command and Conquer kind of thing where like you're setting your pieces down. And
now you're speaking my language. Sorry, you say Command and Conquer. Fuck yeah, I'm into that. Like that. I was the nerd back in, I don't know, when did Command and Conquer come out? 96, 98, something like that. I used to go to this Italian restaurant on a Saturday morning. The restaurant was closed. They rented out their basement to some group, I don't know who, that organized LAN parties, and they would set up like a whole bunch of PCs parties. And we would do like Command and Conquer, like playing against
like LAN parties, basically. That's awesome.
Yes, yeah,
that's awesome.
In the underground, in the basement of some Italian restaurant. But yeah, that was my jam. I'm actually really fucking good at Command and Conquer. It's again, so this been a while, but when you say Command and Conquer, I was like, oh, okay, I'm in. Yes. 100%.
Well, you add a little bit of anime to it, and here you go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, Command and Conquer might be a loose term of like describing it, but that's kind of like the best.
I mean, it's Nintendo's kind of Command and Conquer.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I wish I could show you guys like the actual there's right there. That's that shot right there. So you see, like you set down your pieces, and they kind of like there's a map, and like the red is enemy territory, the blue is yours, and you kind of move your pieces around the map and try and basically get rid of all the enemy pieces and so
has that logic strategy
right
kind of thing, almost chess-like thinking, like thinking ahead and understanding the enemy and all of that. Yeah, that sounds really cool.
You would call it a strategy game, right? I guess based on this picture, you would call this game a strategy game.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I think that was the term I was trying to find, but it's definitely a strategy game. So overall, great direct, mostly for Nintendo fans that I'm sure really enjoyed a lot of this stuff. Rob, Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, like you're probably like foaming at the mouth right now because that's coming out soon. So now we have a release date. What do you think?
I'm excited for people that haven't played it more so than myself. I've already experienced it.
Right, because you did. Yeah, PSP. So I'm the one that I'm more excited than you are at this point, right?
Right.
I have to ask, what is it? Because I played original Final Fantasy VII back in the day. Loved it. Wanted to play the remake.
Okay.
Never had time to sink into that. So I haven't played the remake. So what is this new thing that's coming out?
So without giving away too much, this is the prequel to Final Fantasy VII.
Ooh,
So
okay.
it's a different protagonist. You're not Cloud. You're someone else. And it originally came out for the PSP, right? So
which I never had.
right,
Same.
a lot of people didn't have a PSP, so they never got to experience this game. When I said this game brought me on like the verge of tears at one point, is like it's a very very impactful game. So I can't wait for people to experience that, and you actually get to experience it in updated graphics because let's be honest, the PSPs wasn't really like that great of a system.
right.
I'm just saying it wasn't that great of a system.
So
But
is it like a remake or a reboot or remaster of the PSP version?
I would say it's a remake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remake, like
And
they
it's
from
on
the ground
Switch?
up.
remake.
It's on
But
Switch.
yeah,
It's on
apparently
Switch,
coming out to the Switch.
Steam, PS5, PS4, all it's coming out for everything. Sorry.
Okay.
It's coming out for everything.
Cool.
Yeah. But it is essentially what Final Fantasy VII remake is, but with but it's just a prequel to that. So it's gonna have like the high def graphic fidelity, it's gonna have all that stuff. So I'm excited. I'm ready to play that because I've never played it, and it's it's Final Fantasy. I like that genre, so
Yeah,
I'm down for it.
I would say for you guys, it's a can't miss. You guys should play it 100%. Like it is an incredible game. Story wise, it's like I said, it's very Final Fantasy, but as far as story goes, it's amazing. So
before we move on, though, Rob, what happened to my Metroid remaster?
I'm sorry.
Like nothing happened.
RIP. Kelvin's a huge Metroid fan. If you want to step aside, show Claire your little artwork of Samus.
It's
yeah,
right in the back there. It's like right there.
Oh, okay.
It's small. It's not like anything crazy.
Yeah,
but
he's a big Metroid fan.
Yeah, definitely a big Metroid fan, but nothing
for
this
large back tattoo of it.
Yeah, I have a whole Samus, like she's just like
From the
full-fledged, like
top of the skull all the way down to your heels.
You got to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So her kneecaps are like on my cheeks. So that's
nice. Perfect. Sounds very classy. Very classy.
Of course.
Yeah.
So let's get into some stuff that Claire and I can actually talk about.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
So Sony went full swinging. They're like, "Oh, you guys are doing a direct. All right, hold my controller. Let's go.
Hold my beer."
So they gave us a PlayStation State of Play, same day as the direct, and they gave us a 20-minute long presentation. Here are the tidbits. We got a Tekken 8 official reveal. No release date as of yet. I'm just gonna go into full-fledged like God of War, just Ragnarok trailer, along with an limited edition DualSense controller. By far was the best part of the State of Play. And if you haven't watched it yet, please put that on screen, Rob, because it is phenomenal.
We're gonna put this on. Claire, have you seen this yet?
I've seen it. I haven't played God of War, but I am aware of it, and I was very impressed by this trailer.
Yeah.
Very
I mean,
impressed.
again, you have PlayStation Plus. You can download it right now and at least have it in your pocket for later.
Claire, I'm leave you homework after this episode and be like, you got to play this game, game, and this game.
Rob's just having like.
When you asked me on the show, I was like, "Oh shit, am I gonna be? Do I play enough games to be worthy of coming on you guys' show?"
You do, but
no, 100%. I think it opens you up to different type of games too. Like if there's games that you haven't experienced or haven't heard of, like you're like, you know what, maybe I should try that out. But God of War, this is 100% something that you have to check out. Everyone knows my deal with the first one. I thought it was great. I didn't think it was like a masterpiece by any means. This one seems to kind of beat that in so many levels. Presentation, the voice acting, the graphics, everything that made the first one great looks like this is going to be that much better. And what some of my issues were from the first one was, again, I've said this numerous times, but the enemy variations of the game felt kind of like samey. And that's really kind of like the major issue with the game for me. But this one seems to like really set that apart. Different variations, massive enemies as well, which is another issue that I had with the first one. So they're doing everything right, and I like look at this. This looks.
I don't feel like I'm watching a video game, right? I feel like I'm watching an action movie. Like that's how I feel right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's great.
It looks just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Really does. And on PlayStation 5, this is going to kick ass. It's going to look so great.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait for this to come out. And another one, Claire, that you need to try, like even if you wanted to stream this, right? Because this is, I think this is right up your alley too. Like it has a phenomenal story. It has action. It has like an open world as well, where you can just like kind of walk around and do your thing, collect things and stuff like that. But you're just a dad and his son, and you're just like walking through the world, going through, and seeing that relationship is actually really awesome. Because it's just like, there's some things where like, oh wow, like he's a dad, and he's like, this is how you would actually talk to your son if you had a son. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's definitely an experience.
It's just that back and forth that he's dealing with his demons, like with how to become a father, how to be sympathetic, but also just getting away from that like dark soul that he had from like previous games, so that back and forth that he deals with, that part is just beautiful.
How many other games are there in the franchise? What number is this? Do you guys
know?
So
this is kind of like a reimagine of the game. So essentially we had for PS2, we had a God of War 1 through PS1 and PS2, we had God of War 1 through 3. And then, or that was on PS3, right? God of War 3.
God of War 3 was PS3. It was the only PS3.
So we had God of War 1 through 3. And then once PS4 came out, they kind of remade the game. And it still continues on with the previous games, but it's just like a reimagine of the story. It still continues the story, but it's just they kind of took it back. So this is still God of War 1 essentially, but it's just like a reimagine in a sense.
Cool. So I don't have to do the homework of playing all the other games.
No, they do a great job of the 2018 version. They do a great job of, you don't have to necessarily play the previous ones. There's a backstory, you just don't know what it is, but they don't make it that important to you.
It's not the focal point of the game to know.
Honestly, the story in 2018 is literally like just so simple, and they made it so like non-complex, where like you have to, like, your wife passed away and you have to bury her in a certain place. That's really it, and you're just going from point A to point B. But what happens in between that is what really makes
a story. Yeah.
And then obviously the whole, like I said, the whole issue with him and his son trying to like really understand how to interact with him and all that stuff also plays a role in the game.
So is this a follow-on from the 2018 version
yes.
you were talking about? Okay. So if I played that one and then this one
you'll be good.
Makes sense. Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Cool. Again, he has a deep past, so if you wanted to understand his past, then you'll have to play 1 through 3. But if you wanted to get to that point, you could.
Or you could just watch a YouTube video.
Right
or you could just watch a YouTube video, because as far as the last 3, story was good, but it wasn't anything incredible.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I will say 3 was probably the best, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Moving on. So Yakuza Ishin spinoff game getting Western release. So apparently this was released in Japan. But now it's being released in the West. And actually, from what I understood from an article, I don't have it here, but the Yakuza games are being completely changed now to Like a Dragon. So moving forward, they're going to be called Like a Dragon, not Yakuza. So that's interesting.
Is that because of just like they want to get rid of the affiliation with the Yakuza name, kind of like they don't want to use that in like their marketing per se? Like it's just like, it's almost like a negative thing.
I would
is that the reason why?
So yeah,
I don't know.
Right. Because you think like Mafia too, right? Like those games, like the Mafia games.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know if they're still coming out with them, but it's kind of like the
There's
same
one
thing.
in development. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure. They also announced a Hogwarts Legacy getting PlayStation exclusive content, a new quest, a game called Pacific Drive from Ironwood Studios.
I saw the trailer for that. Can we talk about that one for a minute? Because that one actually caught my eye.
Okay.
It's like everything that
post-apocalyptic,
sci-fi. Yep. I'm really sold on the world and the story. Well, I don't really know what the story is. You don't really get much story, but I imagine there is one. But I was really kind of disappointed by the graphics of it. Don't look that impressive.
I think it's an indie game, right? I think it's more on the indie side of things.
Right.
I don't think it's a AAA.
Usually, no, I mean, not to shit on it. Like, this bit looks great, but in the gameplay, I was like, oh wait, it looks like a PlayStation 4 or even a good PlayStation 3 game.
Right.
And I was just a little kind of surprised. I think it's probably because I just watched the Assassin's Creed trailer, the God of War trailer,
right.
and then this, and I'm like, oh, I want
Yeah,
to like
it's
it.
a little different. I don't think
Yeah.
their focal point is graphics in this game, but the gameplay does seem interesting. Like the whole story does seem interesting. So maybe that would kind of be like what really grabs people's attention.
Yeah, yeah. What's the buzz on this? Do you guys know much about it apart from what's in this trailer?
I don't know
No.
anything about this studio per se. I don't know if they made anything previously. This seems like a new IP for them. This seems like a new game
Right.
in their book.
Mm-hmm.
But again, a part of this trailer, I don't know anything about this game. It seems interesting, but they don't really give you much either.
Right. I know that you drive, and there are maybe aliens or something from another dimension or something
We
like
thought
that.
it was Ghostbusters.
I thought it was
Physics
Ghostbusters
issues
at first
going
because of
on.
the car.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And then there's like a little
Uh,
Tremors vibe to it with something under the
Right.
ground, and yeah. I'm guessing that it's some sort of like interdimensional rift is occurring, or aliens or something like that. But it looks cool. I'm intrigued.
Well, it's survival, right? It's a driving survival game.
Mhm.
It's takes place in the Pacific Northwest, so right up your alley.
Mhm. Yep.
That's why I was drawn to like, oh, this place looks familiar. Huh?
I like the
yeah, I
logo
mean-
has the tree upside down in the V. So it's like it's kind of
Oh,
like
I
the
didn't
world
notice that,
being
yeah.
turned upside down a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a PS5 exclusive, but I mean, because it's in the showcase, they're gonna obviously promote the PS5 versions. But
So it's coming to PS5 and PC. So it is a PS5 exclusive.
okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
When
have to
does
see
it come
more
out?
about
What's the
that
release
later.
date?
We own 2023. No,
Oh, okay.
that's all we got. It's just 2023.
Yeah, that's it. It seems
Fair enough.
interesting, and I don't know much about the studio, but from what it looks like, it looks promising.
Yeah.
PlayStation Star's loyalty program rolls out this month. I have no idea what that is. It looked kind of cool because it gives you like free stuff. You know what I mean? Like I was like, all right, cool, bet. And then this one, Sin Duality, which is a 2023 release window from Bandai Namco, which is pretty cool. It seemed interesting, kind of robot. You named it like 5 different things, Rob, right? You had, like,
oh yeah,
5
during that live stream,
like
I was like, it's this
Armored Core, but also like Star Ocean. So that's pretty cool. And then I'm just gonna finish up the stuff here. So we also had Project Eve renamed as Stellar Blade coming in 2023. Looks phenomenal. Can't wait for that. Team Ninja also announces Rise of the Ronin open world samurai game coming in 2024 as a PS5 exclusive. And that was really it for the state of play. I'm gonna start with Claire. Did you watch the state of play? Did you take anything from like trailers that you've seen? What really grabbed your attention? Was it Pacific Drive that caught your attention?
Yeah,
mostly?
Pacific Drive caught my attention. God of War caught my attention.
yeah.
Was Assassin's Creed part of that? Because you haven't mentioned that. And I know they dropped some
That's
trailers.
next episode.
That's
not
next topic.
next topic.
Okay.
Sorry, next topic.
Because I have thoughts on that.
Okay, all right.
Oh,
But
wow.
the rest of it, no, honestly, apart from those two, nothing really kind of stood out to me.
Okay. I don't know. What did you think, Rob? As far as the state of play as a whole, did you like it? Did you not like it? What were your takes on that?
So I think this state of play becomes very mediocre if you take out God of War. I think it's a good way of putting it. It's like they had some pretty cool stuff, but nothing that was like blowing your socks off. And I think God of War was kind of that thing that made it wow. Like your job was
playing devil's advocate. If we take away Zelda from the Nintendo Direct, was that still a solid Direct?
Ooh,
yes,
like that.
Words.
Oh, okay.
Because we get Pikmin 4, we get New Fire Emblem, and people love those two games. So
okay, all right.
Fair enough.
So Project Eve didn't do it for you. Team Ninja announcing that
when
Rise
it
of
comes
the
to like
Ronin.
those super high speed action hack and slash games, I got to play the game. I can't just go off of this video. I have to actually have it in my hands how it feels. It could have a complete garbage story. Like, I can't trust games like that because
you have trust
get
issues.
burned.
We know that. We understand that. I know that you have trust issues, Rob. But Tekken
we have
8
rat
was
issues and trust issues.
Oh yeah, we're all fucked up in this. Pod,
oh yeah.
Tekken 8, we don't play it. We're not like huge fighting fans, but People love Tekken 8.
I was
That's
gonna
true.
say
People
Tekken
do.
is actually a big one. Personally, I'm not really into fighting games.
Right.
If I was going to play a fighting game, it would be Mortal Kombat.
Oh, it's so
Street
good.
Fighter would be second. Tekken is like the poor man's Street Fighter, I think.
Yeah.
But
Agreed.
it's a classic. It's number 8 in the series, so
So they're doing something right.
did something right. Yeah, yeah, and it
Yep,
looks great. It looks as good as Mortal Kombat 10 did a few years ago.
So, are you excited for Street Fighter 6? Because I am very excited. And again, I'm not really a huge
Street Fighter 5
fan
I
or
thought
anything.
was terrible. Looked pretty, but the gameplay sucked. I only played it for a couple hours, so I think it was like
And it
one of
hook
those
you.
things you had
Yeah.
to play it a lot, unlock a lot, but it seemed very thin in what it offered.
Look into Street Fighter 6 because we've kind of covered that a little bit throughout the months since we've seen the release of it. It looks pretty interesting. Again, me coming from a non-fighting genre type of guy, Street Fighter 6 looks pretty incredible, and I'm kind of interested by it.
When is that coming out? Do you know?
No
off the
release
top of your
date.
head?
They have
Again?
no. Oh, Street Fighter
What is
6
with this? Yeah,
Street Fighter 6, yeah.
Street Fighter 6.
next year. I think. I don't think it's coming out this year, right?
No, definitely next year. I don't think we have a actual release date though.
Is
No,
there
it
anything
just
good
says
coming out this year? Because everything's next year.
that Final Fantasy game's coming out, right?
Yeah,
God of War's coming out.
November,
Oh right, yes, yeah. That is this year.
Bayonetta's coming out this year.
October 28th.
October, yeah, Bayonetta. I think that. I mean, we just got Last of Us remaster, so that was good, right?
Pokemon.
Yeah,
Pokemon coming out. If you're a Pokemon fan,
So I think I agree with you, Rob. If you take out God of War, this is a very kind of like mediocre, like okay kind of state of play. Again, 20 minutes. To be fair, it is a half hour different, or like 20 minutes.
You're right. You're right. It wasn't for how short it was. It was pretty good what you got out of it. So
but I was cool with it. I got Project Eve because I was literally talking about that like days before. I was like, "Where's that game?"
You're like, "What's that game?" Yeah.
And so that's out. Well, that's cool. It looks phenomenal. And then Team Ninja announcing that Rise of the Ronin. What's going on with these samurai games that are like coming out of the woodwork now? Like, great. I'm not mad about that, but it just seems odd that all these games are coming out at the same time.
Yeah, I feel like that's a perfect segue to your next topic with the samurai stuff.
News number 3, Assassin's Creed 2022 showcase. So, Claire, this is for you here. So, we got a bunch of tidbits. This is coming from Ubisoft Forward. They also had an Assassin's Creed showcase as well. Assassin's Creed segment was actually on its own, and we have a couple things here. So, we had Assassin's Creed Mirage, which officially revealed. Again, this is actually what we were talking about, where they're kind of toning down the length of the game. This is like a 20 to 30 hour experience, which is exactly what we were talking about, which is really cool.
I'm happy about that.
Same.
Yeah, it will also be taking place in Baghdad, and Basim will be taking the lead role. This game will have a direct connection with the Assassin's Creed Valhalla game launching in 2023. We also got a bunch of other games. We also got Assassin's Creed Codename Red, which is also revealed and will take place in feudal Japan. Assassin's Creed Codename Hex or Hexi, which was revealed and also seems to be taking place in a Salem witch trials, which is honestly, I think that kind of takes the cake for me, but that we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah, I have thoughts on that one.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Let me just get through this real quick. And then, so there's no release date for any of these titles. And we know that Assassin's Creed Infinity, not really a game per se, but it's some type of like hub. Not much.
What does that even mean?
We don't know. That's the problem. We know it's going to be multiplayer, incorporating multiplayer, but that's really it. So, Claire, I know you have a lot to say about this, but we'll start with Claire first, and then we'll get to you, Rob. What do you think of all these Assassin's Creed games? What's your favorite? Tell us.
I love Assassin's Creed. I've been a fan of the franchise since game number 1. I hated Odyssey. I didn't like Origins, and I'm a huge Egyptology fan. I love ancient Egypt. I've studied Egyptology. I have a certificate in Egyptology. So it's like that was the game of all the Assassin's Creed games. That was the game I was going to love, and it was okay. I think the changes they made to the game system, the gameplay, like making it more of an RPG, having a lot more control over your weapons and your character and skills and all of that, like I mentioned earlier, that doesn't interest me. That kind of overwhelms me a bit.
It was like too much for...
Way too much.
Okay.
I could overlook it in Origins because of the setting and loving the the ancient Egypt setting. Beautiful game. But then Odyssey came out and it was this massive, sprawling, just aimless game that I got completely lost in. And
like in a bad way though, like
in
in a good way.
in a very bad way.
Okay.
I don't even know what the fuck the story is. I don't know what's happening. I don't know why I'm supposed to care. I don't give a shit. I don't have a snickety arm blade. Why am I not an assassin? Like it was just so. It was like it wasn't an Assassin's Creed game.
It felt off-brand, right?
It was
a little
very
bit.
off-brand, and it frustrated me and it upset me in a lot of ways. I didn't play Valhalla because I thought I heard so many bad things about it. But my boyfriend is actually streaming Valhalla at the moment. He's doing weekly streams of that. And it looks really cool. I'm actually really into it. I feel like Valhalla, they kind of backpedaled a little bit, reined it in, took away some of the sprawlingness of Odyssey. And kind of
still a massive game though.
Still a big game, but I feel like they kind of simplified it. And I say this as someone whose ancestors were invaded by Vikings. That I actually really am excited to play it. It looks like a cool game. It's next on my list to play. And then Mirage. I see the trailer for Mirage. Holy fucking shit! It's bringing it back to the original Assassin's Creed. It looks like the original Assassin's Creed. It has
this part
a
right
lot
here.
of those like cool, right.
Even the fact that like they're following the lore, just like Assassin's Creed. Like you see this, and you're like, oh, Assassin's Creed 1. You know?
Yes, and it ends with the feather and all of that, and it's like they understood where they went wrong. And they're setting it right, and it gives me so much fucking hope, so much hope that this is going to be a great game. The setting, it looks beautiful. Parts of this trailer look like a movie. It's like I'm not watching a video game. I'm watching an actual like video of a person doing parkour. Like it doesn't look like a video game. The red smoke thing looks great. It's like just so much about it that I'm just like, wow, it's the original Assassin's Creed, but it is obviously expanded and made great, but it's made great in small ways, not, oh, let's just have this massive sprawling map and way too many missions and make you grind. It looks like OG Assassin's Creed, and I am here for it.
Rob?
Wow. Very, very well said, Claire. I don't think I could have said it better myself.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Do you think that Ubisoft with Assassin's Creed was almost going like the Call of Duty route? Like that's what they were headed as far as like just releasing title after title of being like, okay, like we're doing the same thing, but it's a different setting, but it's kind of the same thing. And there's just like, it's not saying that like, I think it started with Origins, right? Origins is when like the big open world started. And then it went to, the big shift. And then we went to Odyssey, and then we got to Valhalla where they kind of took a step back. But then we have this where they're like, we're going to take it like 5 step backs and go back to 1. Right. Do you think like they got the memo being like, we're doing something wrong here, guys? I don't know if we should keep doing, because they could keep doing that. They could have kept going with the big open worlds, but they decided to put the brakes on it.
Yeah. And a lot of people like the big open world stuff. I mean, that as a game system or whatever, a gameplay style, hugely popular. There's a reason why they chose to do that, and a lot of people like it. But I think it's for fans of the franchise. I know so many people who say, yeah, it's cool, it's not an Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah, I mean, when I played Origins recently, I played it on my Steam Deck, and the first thing they have you doing is you're literally just fighting one-to-one combat with a sword and shield. Like there's nothing assassin about it.
Right.
When you start the game. If you told me this was an Assassin's Creed game, I would have been like, oh, it is? I would have no idea if you didn't tell me the title. So that just goes to show you that they were kind of losing their essence a little bit.
And this is why I'm excited for Mirage, because it's going back to its roots. It's also a smaller kind of like more just intimate game.
Yeah, smaller scale.
That 20 to 30 hour mark, I think, is perfect. I know you're talking about like how Valhalla is great and all, and it looks great, but I don't even want to touch that thing because of how I've heard it's like 150 hours, and I'm like, I can't do that. I have so much other things that I can play and I just can't invest. And then on top of that, how much am I really investing? Like, am I investing in the story, or am I investing in more so of just like the gameplay of just like, doing all these
grinding,
different type of things, like grinding
upgrading.
and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's like, I'm loving that they're doing this, and it's gonna be, from what Ubisoft said, it's gonna be a smaller title, but also like $50, like $49.99. So they're also kind of like, fluctuating the cost of it as well.
That seems reasonable.
Yeah, for sure.
Like for the newer games like Origins and Odyssey and stuff like that, it comes to the question, like, is the juice worth the squeeze? Is you putting in 150 hours worth the story you're going to get out of that game, right?
I mean, I gave up on Odyssey. I couldn't finish it because it was too big. But the one saving grace about Odyssey is that's how I found Days Gone. Because I gave up on Odyssey and was like, I just need a palate cleanser. I just need something fun, shoot some zombies, whatever. And I found Days Gone. And
boom, and here you go. So thank you, Assassin's Creed, right?
Yes,
now we have the Day Gone's podcast, right? Like,
yep, 100%.
Yep.
So Claire, what do you think? You had a lot to say about Hexy. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would pronounce it Hex. I think the E is
silent.
I don't know why they have an extra E on the end. I mean, are they making Assassin's Creed Blair Witch? Because that's what it is.
Essentially, right.
I read that it's the interpretation of it is that it's the Salem witch trials. Obviously, you don't get anything more than a logo here in this trailer, so none of this reads Salem witch trials to me. And I know a little bit about the Salem witch trials, and I don't. This is Blair Witch. I mean, this is Blair Witch, the Blair Witch Project, which is a fictional horror movie. I don't know why this says Salem witch trials. I mean, maybe the star in the background, but like it's weird because the Salem witch trials, when you look into the history of it, I'm trying to figure out how they're going to spin an Assassin's Creed game through mass hysteria and people wanting to steal their neighbor's property.
Yeah, I'm thinking more like voodoo dolls and like
I'm
witches.
thinking more of like, because Assassin's Creed 3 was based in America, right? So it would kind of take similar route there, but maybe you're right. Maybe it's not actually Salem witch trials. Maybe it's something else. Maybe this gives me also like Hansel and Gretel vibes too.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. It feels like a horror movie thing, like fantasy horror, which Assassin's Creed is very much rooted in history. So it reminded me of like American Horror Story or something like that, or Blair Witch Project, or some sort of fantasy horror kind of media. So I don't really know what they're going to do with this. I don't understand what this game is, because everything fun about Salem witch trials would be the fiction of magic and witchcraft and stuff, which doesn't fit with either the history or Assassin's Creed. Yeah, so I'm not sure. I'm intrigued, but I'm not sure about this.
I think that's where I'm at. I'm intrigued because I do kind of like that, like story, that lore of like the witch trials and all that stuff. So I get what you're saying, and I didn't even think of it that way. So that's a good point. But if they can spin it somehow where it kind of makes sense, or they kind of make like this fictional kind of like story, I think it could work out.
The Templars would make sense, having Templars in, because the Salem witch trials was very much about the powerful people in town accusing people they wanted out of their way of witchcraft and having them removed from power or whatever, so they could do land grabs and property grabs and things like that and have political control. That fits for the Templars.
Right.
But I don't know what else where do the assassin, like, how do you get the assassins into that apart from just killing Templars?
So I'm reading here, this is a rumor from Bloomberg, and it suggested that the game will be set in Central Europe during the 16th century. A pivotal time in history, a sort of mass hysteria gripped the continent as 80,000 people were executed, all for the crime of being in a league with the devil. There's also
setting it in Europe makes more sense rather than Salem specifically, because Salem has a very specific and a very that's what I'm struggling with, is the narrow focus of Salem being a very small story. But if it's just Europe, it's quite expansive, and you could weave in some fictional characters and some fictional things going on with this historical backdrop of just the general witch trials.
Right. And what they're also saying here is that this is probably going to be the most different and darkest installment yet in the Assassin's Creed
And
series.
that's
here for that. I
I'm
would at least see
so
the smile on my face.
I love that.
So
That's why I was like when I saw that I was like, yeah, I like this. And I know we were going back and forth, Rob, because you were like, oh, Codename Red, like all the way.
Feudal
like,
Japan,
Feudal
man,
Japan,
samurais,
like,
let's go.
I guarantee you Codename Red is going to get more attention because
100%,
everyone has wanted the.
But there's going to be that cult following for Hexy, where it's like, no, this is the game. But they're both releasing. I think they're both two major titles for Infinity.
Right, that was going to be. Well, my question was going to be: are they? So Mirage is like a smaller game, but still a main game, so like 20 to 30 hour gameplay. What is Codename Red? What is Hex? What are they going to be? Small games, like 10 hours?
These
or
are
they
full-fledged.
These
are full-fledged, like your typical
flagship
games. Yeah, the flagship titles. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're going to be Valhalla. They're going to be Origins. They're going to be Black Flag. Whatever,
Right now, what Rob mentioned, which is a very good point. From what Ubisoft is trying to kind of like make us understand, this is going to be part of Assassin's Creed Infinity, which again we don't really know quite well what that is. It's a hub of different Assassin's Creed games, but we don't know how that works. So again, it's very kind of like wishy-washy. We don't know.
That makes me nervous. It's like, just give me a game. Just deliver a game. I don't like multiplayer. I barely enjoy co-op. I don't want a multiplayer Assassin's Creed game. I do not want that at all. That's the same as Odyssey. It's like, that's not part of the franchise. That's not Assassins. Right. You're alone, like you're the one assassin. Like that's the whole point, is that it's all on you, singular you, to get the job done. I don't know how you do if it's multiplayer or something like that.
Yeah, Brotherhood did it right. I don't know if you ever play Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood.
Ooh, I think I missed that one.
Yeah,
so that's part of the spin-off of 2, right?
Right. So that one had you as still Ezio, but he was kind of building up the guild and recruiting assassins, and you can basically control the assassins to basically, we're going to get this guy. So like it's still like you have that, like you can control other people and do other things, but it's still like keeping on brand, right? You're still like assassinating people. So I think they did a really good job in that game of like that. But
so you think it might be like an updated system in that
I hope so because it worked really well and it was my favorite game.
Okay,
we'll see. But Infinity is just, I don't know, I think it's this, like I said, this hub, and they have so many different timelines. They have like the Vikings, they have the Greeks, they have ancient Egypt. It might be just an easy way for people to just experience Assassin's Creed, like Kelvin said.
Do you think there may be, because I've noticed in the more recent games that they're putting the Animus and the future storyline very much in the backseat and allowing you to skip a lot of that, which honestly was the best improvement they made to the franchise. Because I always hated the futuristic part. It's like, I don't care. Let me just be an assassin. Let me kill things.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. That part was very like just like the dragging part of the game. But I also kind of, I feel like they could have done more with it. If they incorporated it well, it could have been nicely done. But it was not great with Desmond kind of like being like the main protagonist. He seemed very like bland, and it just didn't make sense.
It didn't, and it was always, you were having so much fun in the history parts, and then it was like you get dragged back to the future just to escape a room or something, and it's like, oh no, the what was the organization called that had the Animus?
I don't remember the name of it, but
oh god,
a Vertigo or something.
I can't remember, but
I don't remember.
That's how much I care about it. Is I can remember every aspect of the games apart from that bit, because that bit always just bored me to tears. So I liked that you could skip that in Odyssey, and I think you can do it in Valhalla. You can just kind of skip it. I wonder if the Infinity is it, what was that called? The hub,
Assassin's Creed Infinity. Yeah, it's like
I wonder if that's going to be a way to take the future parts out of the games but have that be a main framework that the games are delivered through or something. So it's like they're kind of getting a little meta and like taking the anima stuff out of the actual gameplay, so you don't have to suffer through those bits, but still keeping it kind of present so that the story, the reasoning for everything makes sense. Maybe it's something like that.
Maybe it's to make it like, for like you were saying, Kelv, it's very hard for you to get into Odyssey. Sitting with you, Claire, it was just overwhelming. Maybe this is their way to coax new players into actually getting into those stories and being like, hey, so you're going into the hub. Where do you want to go? Like, what timepiece do you want to be an assassin in? And then you get transported and you get to play that game. But like they might be able to streamline in a way where you're actually an assassin and not just a warrior that kills things.
Just basically a jumped up menu system.
Right.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah. I'm hoping that's not the case, but they're kind of like keeping it hush hush, and I think they're just not quite ready for any reveal yet.
Yeah.
So to me, that makes me sound like it's probably something bigger than we really think it is. But I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm excited for Mirage. I'm excited for all of them, really. Red, and I'm excited for
I will
Hex.
play all of them. As much as I say I hate the recent Assassin's Creed games, I will play them.
I think they definitely nailed the places that we were going to for these, right? Like they're definitely nailing that. So that gets me really excited. So I might try these out, especially like, we've been waiting for Japan like for so long,
10,
Assassin's Creed.
12, 15 years since the beginning of the franchise.
This is it. We're finally here, so I think it's going to be exciting to see that.
Definitely.
Any final thoughts on Assassin's Creed? Because it's a lengthy topic.
I'm excited for what they have, especially for Mirage, and you guys actually made me more excited about Hexy, honestly, or Hex, whatever they're going to calling it. But yeah,
Heeks. Let's call it Heeks.
I like it. Heeks.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I am too. But that has been the news for the week. Let's get into in-game chat. We're gonna ask each other some questions. Very fun topics here. So Claire, I'm gonna start with you. What is your favorite post-apocalyptic game and why? This is the overall question for all of us, but this being the Days Gone Pod host, we dedicated this to you. So what is your favorite post-apocalyptic game and why?
I feel like this is a leading question. Like you already know my answer.
I figured. Yeah.
Honestly, there's quite a few. Obviously, Days Gone is the one that touched my heart, inspired me to start a podcast. I've done 44 episodes of the podcast about one single game. I can't think of another game that you could do that. But it's a standalone game. It's not a franchise or anything like that. It's just one single game. The story of that is so rich. The world is so rich. It's so well designed. The gameplay loop is fantastic, very satisfying. I could go on all day about why it's amazing. But honestly, that's my personal favorite. But there are so many great games that fall under that subgenre.
Hold that thought. I'm just gonna name a few of them because there's a ton of like post-apocalyptic games. But we have Days Gone, we have Metro Exodus, we have Dying Light, Death Stranding, Mad Max, The Last of Us 2, Horizon Forbidden West, Horizon Zero Dawn, Fallout New Vegas. I mean the list literally goes on. Left 4 Dead. Like there's a lot of them, but
I was
sticking with.
I was going to say close second would be Mad Max. I recently played that.
How was that?
It's really good.
It's funny. Like
the combat is very satisfying.
That's what I keep hearing. No one really, like if I mention Mad Max, I feel like no one knows what I'm talking about. But because like if I think of Mad Max, I don't remember anything. I don't remember gameplay. I don't know anything about it, but I remember it coming out, and then I think it came out around the same time as like Death Stranding, I think, or something like that.
No, it's a little before. It was before. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like 2015. So.
Yeah, 2015. You're right. You're 100%. It came out. So I know it came out alongside something that was like really big, and it just got like swept away. But it just. Yeah, first piece, right. But it just feels like a game that like it just kind of went away for like no one's really played that game. You know,
I mean, I only played it for the first time this year. I only heard about it for the first time last year. I hadn't. I mean, I know of Mad Max, obviously, but not the video game. And if I'd have seen it, I'd have assumed it was like a shitty, quick bang out game because the movie was popular. That
Metal Gear Solid. Sorry, I had to interrupt. Metal Gear Solid 5 came out around that time.
Oh, that's why it got destroyed. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, but it's really good. It's not. A lot of people do actually play it multiple times, do find a lot of satisfaction in it. I've personally found that it was a little bit empty, and that I'm spoiled because of Days Gone. The world is so rich. There is so much to discover. Even just neat little Easter eggs and little scenes, little things that are just out in the world that you can just stumble across and be like, oh, fuck, what happened here? What is this all about? What story is this telling? Mad Max is lacking in that because it's set in a literal desert. So there's really not much to explore.
The driving combat is pretty cool, I've heard, though.
The driving combat is awesome. The driving in general, how they did the graphics to simulate speed, I could feel the wind in my face. Like, it's really, really good.
That's really cool.
The sky is beautiful. The landscape is pretty, but kind of samey. The gameplay loop is it gets very repetitive.
Okay.
That's the downside of it. It's very repetitive. But it's very satisfying. The fighting is very satisfying. And I think that's what hooks a lot of people. The driving and the fighting. The story is very thin, but it's you overlook it because it's a Mad Max movie. It's
right.
A Mad Max game. It's not supposed to have
a
really in-depth story. Yeah.
Right.
And then there's lots of like cool things. You can find the historical collectibles or whatever they're called, historical artifacts. They're really fun to find, like old photographs, and there's like little comments about it kind of pieces together the world, how the world collapsed, and then you have Max's commentary on that. Like you find this photo of like a little girl with a dog, and the caption on the photo is like, oh, it's Susan with the puppy Cece or whatever, and Max is like, he has a voiceover where he says something along the lines of like, they used to keep them as pets, not eat them. Interesting.
Weird.
That's awesome.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
I like that little
like that.
Yeah, fun little things like that. That definitely makes the kind of the characters, like they kind of add to the characters. That's awesome. So Days Gone being your favorite, what makes it your favorite? I know we talked a little bit about it before the episode, but we also know there's a Days Gone movie coming out. So what's your thoughts on that? Incorporating that with like your favorite game?
Well, I will preface this with a slight correction. There is not a Days Gone movie coming out yet. There is an actor attached to a script, which is a different thing. I work in the film industry, so
it's
I don't
before a movie, basically. Like it's not.
They have a script that they're happy enough that they've been going out to studios and going out to actors and producers, and they have an actor who's interested in playing the lead. I mean, who wouldn't want to play the lead? And
why
that's all they have so far.
Wouldn't they play the guy that plays like he's an actor?
I can actually answer this. Yes. Okay. He is a decent actor. Obviously, for fans of the game, it's like a no-brainer. Like, of course you want him.
Right.
But again, like I said, I've worked in the film industry. I kind of know how producers and executives work. Okay. They want someone that, to use an industry phrase, moves the needle. Someone who has the right kind of buzz or vibe around them, that the executives can feel confident that if they say yes to this person, they're not going to lose their jobs. And this is nothing against Sam Witwer. Sam Witwer is fucking incredible. I mean, he is great. But if you look at his movie credits and TV credits, they're not as good as this other guy. I don't really know the other guy either, but he was an Outlander. That was a huge hit. So I think it's like, oh, he has a huge hit in that show, so let's put him. He moves the needle more. It's bullshit executive stuff.
Right.
Just
all
that's
corporate stuff.
How the movie industry works is people looking to not lose their jobs, and not get fired for putting someone who is the right person for the role but doesn't have the right credits or doesn't move the needle enough for their bosses. Because you got to think, people who are making these movies, making these decisions, they have bosses who have never played a video game or have never, they've never seen Sam Witwer in anything or whatever. So it's like, Sam Witwer who?
So who would you want as Deacon then? Who would you if
Sam
you could
Witwer, obviously.
So that would be him for sure.
One, right?
But if you had another actor that can kind of like take his role but also do it, just as well, like would there be anybody else in like the Hollywood business?
I don't know, but Tom Hardy should play Boozer.
I
would just honestly, I would put Tom Hardy.
That's actually really solid. That's
actually solid, dude. I like that.
Yeah, see, he's an excellent actor. He could play it really well. Yeah. It has a slightly different vibe to Boozer, but I think on screen I don't know what tone they're going for, but I imagine the tone will be slightly different. Sure. Obviously, the story's going to be different if it's a movie because you have 6 hours of cutscenes in the game. You can't just the cutscenes alone. You can't condense that into a 2-hour movie.
Right.
So the story is going to be different. We can surmise that. But yeah, if you put Tom Hardy in as Boozer, that would be fucking amazing. He would knock it out of the park.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
I was just gonna say more about Sam Witwer. The first time I actually saw him in anything was this show called Being Human. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Yes. I like the British one better.
Yes,
I didn't like the American one. I actually didn't watch it. I watched one episode and I was like, I don't like this.
I watched the British version first. I was like, that was really solid. And then I watched the American version. I was like, that's not it. This is not it.
Yeah,
and
I felt
but that's the first time I ever saw him.
Didn't they give him didn't he have like a shaved head or something in that?
Yeah, like he was supposed to be the vampire guy, and it was just not. It didn't work.
Yeah, they kind of messed up the directing and the tone and stuff was a little off. He was also in Battlestar Galactica.
Yep. And the Star Wars games, not Force I think it's a Force Unleashed. He played as Starkiller.
Yeah. That's one of in the gaming realm. That's one of the ones he's most well known for. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, he was in the TV show Battlestar Galactica. He was in The Mist, the Stephen King adaptation, the movie. He was in The Walking Dead. He's actually in the first episode of The Walking Dead, which interestingly enough, the title of that episode is Days Gone By.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's actually awesome. Just small little things you wouldn't know, just little trivia pieces there.
Interesting.
Yeah, just a coincidence, but kind of a cool one.
Yeah, interesting. So I'm trying to read a little bit into like any information that we get from this Days Gone movie, but literally there's nothing.
There is nothing.
I thought I read something or I heard something about they're trying to take more of they're more focusing on the motorcycles aspect to it. So I don't know if
there was something that was it's a love letter to motorcycle movies or something.
Yeah, something like along those lines. Yeah.
What that means, I don't know.
Exactly.
Motorbikes are cool.
I could see that movie almost being similar to like if the way they do it, almost like an I Am Legend kind of.
Really?
Making the
movie?
Not like the movie, but like hear me out. Wait, you're saying like
I've got my skeptical face on.
Yeah. So you know how they like didn't really show the monsters and it was more about the character itself. Yes. I think that would be really like show the freakers and the rippers and stuff like that. Show that, but keep them kind of limited to where like when they really come out, it's like, oh my God, this is like scary. Like you see a horde or something come out. I think if they just like they're there every 5 seconds and I think it might lose its. This is just another zombie movie. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. It's going to be tricky. It's definitely going to be tricky. And I don't know if I have the confidence in the movie that I want to have.
That little article that I was mentioning that you said, Claire, I'm actually, if they kind of focus it more of like Sons of Anarchy, I think that'd be really cool. Like if they kind of like have that like kind of, group, a gang kind of like related atmosphere and you kind of
they're going to different camps,
brothers. Like that would be kind of cool. Brotherhood, like they kind of really go into brotherhood like that.
Right.
That would be cool. I would like that.
Basically just take Walking Dead and take Sons of Anarchy and just
I mean, that's the game.
Them.
Basically, that's where the game started, was those two things as the inspiration. I mean, it would It would be a different movie from the game, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
Because I don't think you can do the game as a movie because it's just too big.
It's too big.
You
That's why I'm
can't
like,
do
why
it.
is this not a show? You know, why is this not a show?
Yeah,
But
yeah, definitely.
crazy.
Well,
crazy.
Days Gone is apparently Claire's favorite post-apocalyptic game.
Yes.
No surprise. I mean,
Yeah.
What's yours, Rob?
It's a tough one. This is tough.
Do you have a favorite? Do you have any post-apocalyptic games that you play?
I mean, what's it called? I played Days Gone. Obviously, I didn't beat it. I'm sorry, I didn't beat it. But
how far
I know
did you get out of interest? Don't say the first bike mission.
No, it's way past that.
Do you remember what camp you opened up?
The really annoying person, not Taylor.
Yeah,
older lady.
Oh,
is it Taylor?
Tucker.
I was a little past that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you didn't get very far into the game.
Yeah,
No,
sorry. I'm sorry. I mean, it's fine. It's fair enough. Like if you're not digging it, the game really opens up once you get a little past that, which is sometimes a lot to ask of people. Like it's a lot of hours to put into a game. But really, once you get to the third camp, which is called Lost Lake, that's when the story really picks up.
I hear you talk about that section, that part of the game, all the time in your podcast. It's just like Lost Lake that's like the focal point. That's like when the game becomes a game, essentially, is what it sounds like.
Exactly. Which granted, it does take, unless you're speed running, it does take 5-10 hours to get to there, maybe more if you're a thorough, methodical, slow player. Which is a lot to ask of people to get into a game like, oh, just give it 5 hours, give it 10 hours. Honestly, it's worth it. It is really, really worth it. The game is fantastic. I enjoyed the first few hours. I didn't have any problem with it at all. And then was pleasantly surprised when it got even better.
Even better, right.
But some people do find it a little bit of a slog. It's story-wise, it's kind of slow. But the world is beautiful. The world is open. You can go open world pretty much straight away. There's a few little tutorial missions, but after that, you can do whatever you want. And there's a lot to do if you want to do it. It's not Odyssey levels of too many missions.
Right.
The missions are quite streamlined, but the world is, you can explore and do whatever you want to do.
So you're going to hate me for this. Sorry.
I couldn't hate you, Rob.
You might hate me for this. I was so intrigued that I wanted to know the ending of the game.
Oh yeah, you killed it for yourself, dude.
So I looked up the secret ending for the game.
Wait, the secret. You looked at the secret ending? That doesn't really tell you much about the story.
Okay, all I know is that the secret ending happened. Yes, that part.
Okay.
That scene. So I looked that up, and even I was like, again, I'm not like super dedicated to this game or anything like that, and I was like, oh shit, like that's wow, like what? Yeah. So that actually intrigued me more to come back in and play. Like, wait, what? This is what happened. So without going into further spoilers, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
so.
That's not even the main focus of the game, but that is a really big, cool ending. I'm glad you didn't spoil what I would consider the main story, because that for me is kind of more of the hook.
I haven't finished it myself. I will get to it at some point.
Where did you get up to? Do you remember?
I think so. I remember Boozer getting like really sick, and I had to get medicine for him. So I had to get medicine, and then I had to cut his arm or there was something. So we're in a camp right now, or maybe that was past that. I know. So there was a part where I remember that we kind of start understanding what these freakers are, and we're kind of putting them in this like horde area so that we're gonna throw like this dynamite or something. That's like all I remember, but I don't know if that is.
You reached Lost Lake, I know where you are.
Definitely.
You're just starting to get to all the good stuff. I think you stopped right as it was starting to unfold. You're starting to learn the characters and.
I remember Iron Mike and I walking up to a certain part of like
the Metolius lava cave.
Yeah. And we had like
you see that big horde going up the hill.
Yes.
And then they have the discussion about blowing up the caves to stop the hordes coming through. Yeah.
That's exactly where I'm at. Yep. And then I left it off there. So am I like midway, not even close? Where am I?
You're closing in on midway at that point. Maybe about a third, 2/5, something around there. Gotcha. Not quite halfway, but not far off.
Okay. So a little bit more, and I'll be like, oh shit, this is it. Because
Yes.
I'm really interested in like Sarah's like I'm kind of interested more in like the Deacon Sarah relationship, right?
Right.
Because
That's
I
the
know,
crux of the theme and everything.
Yeah, it's just like
The whole story is
yeah.
about Deacon's redemption. He puts her on a chopper at the beginning to get her to
Yes.
safety.
Yeah.
And of course, everything goes wrong and she ends up dying. And
Mhm.
so he's lived for 2 years with the grief that he put her on this helicopter thinking he was doing the right thing. But
He did.
obviously, he made a decision to stay with Boozer. And you have a flashback to when he proposes to her. And she says, yes, on the condition that you promise
Yes.
me 2 things, one of which is you'll never leave me.
Yes.
And so the very first scene of the game, we see him leaving her. And
Mm.
he doesn't know it at the time. Like, we can't
Right.
fault him for his logic, but it's
Right.
like he leaves her to basically go die alone.
Mhm.
And he is tormented by that for years afterwards. And that is the whole kind of beginning of his arc, that he's kind of pulled back from humanity and he has to regain his humanity and heal himself. And there's various different characters that are trying to get him to heal. He's not ready to heal. It's a whole grief and trauma kind of thing going on. And there are certain elements, I don't want to say any spoilers, but there are certain things that happen that
unfortunately I've been a little spoiled, and it's my fault because I listening to your podcast, I was like, oh shit, I kind of put 2 and 2 together. You weren't like really spoiling it at that point, but I kind of figured out what happened.
The
But
podcast is filled with spoilers.
yeah,
so.
I would imagine most people have
coming in.
beat the game.
Literally, the first thing you say is like spoiler alert. Like, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
for sure. But yeah, so I will probably get into it at some point. I just have such a backlog of games.
Right.
And
Yeah,
I think
same.
I was, out of Rob and I think I was more interested in Days Gone than he was. It just kind of got my attention.
Hey, wait. Who downloaded it first?
Oh, you did for sure. But who kept playing? You know what I mean?
Okay. I give that one to you. But I
honestly, for you guys, I recommend that neither of you play any further, because it is the kind of game that will hook you and it ruins other video games for you. It genuinely does. I have a hard time caring about anything after Days Gone because I just want to play Days Gone. Like, seriously, there are very few games that pique my interest because I'm like, is this as good as Days Gone? No. Well, then I don't want to play it.
Aren't those the worst kind of games?
Like, you have to play other video games. So maybe it's a good thing that you didn't play it.
Just backtrack. Yeah, we're just like saving ourselves. Like, don't actually. No, but that is the worst thing, right? Is when you do play a game like that and you go back to other games, you're like, this.
Nothing's good enough.
That happened to me with Elden Ring. I beat Elden Ring in a month, and I was like, everything sucks. I can't play anything else. It just ruined everything.
You were a savage with that game, dude. That you savage.
Yeah. So I understand what you mean by that.
I moderate the subreddit for Days Gone, and so often we have people coming on the subreddit saying like, what are some other games I can play? I've tried this, and this. None of them do it for me anymore. It's like developing a weird sexual fetish or something. And like, you just can't get off without that anymore.
Right.
You're making me want to play this game right now. You know what I mean?
Oh, there we go. I'll see.
Well, let's move on to one more. We have one more segment for you, Claire, before we leave. Would you rather? New segment that we have here where we just ask you a couple questions. Would you rather do this? Would you rather do that? Our first question here is a little confusing here, so stick with me.
Okay.
Would you rather be in your favorite video game but have to kill your favorite character, or be your least favorite character in your favorite video game? Does that make sense?
Main character still lives.
I feel like
oh my god, I'm sorry.
Confusing.
Okay, so let me summarize. So would I like to be in Days Gone, but kill Deacon?
Yes.
Or
be in Days
the
Gone,
villain of Days Gone, and Deacon lives. I have kind of a thing for the villain of Days Gone, so yeah, totally, I would be the villain.
You'd be the villain. Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
And not to save Deacon just because I like the villain.
Yeah. Interesting. Rob, what do you think? What would you do? What's your favorite video game? Is it Devil May Cry? Is that where we're going there?
I mean, that's like the easy choice for me, right? It's like Devil May Cry off the jump. I mean, it's a game I probably replayed the most. It probably is my favorite game if I've replayed that game the most. So yeah, I'd probably say Devil May Cry. But if I had to kill Dante, he can't die.
He's gonna die though.
He can't die. You can't. So or be your lead in your favorite. So then who's my least? Oh, that's fine. I'll kill Dante.
Okay.
We got Nero and Virgil. I'll kill Dante.
Because you'll be Virgil, right?
Yeah. I'm good with
You're
that.
fine with that.
Yeah. What about
me
you?
having Metal Gear Solid as one of my favorite games.
You got to kill Snake.
You can't kill Snake.
You can't kill Snake.
He dies. You know what I mean? He dies anyways. So
you'd be like, he's fine. He'll come back.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that'd be a fine compromise. Like he's gonna die anyway, so I can still. I mean, would I be? First of all, Claire,
would you rather be Ocelot or Snake? I guess is where we're coming. Would you be the Ocelot or have Snake die? Ocelot's a baddie.
I don't like Ocelot.
He's a bad guy. Yeah,
Nah, I'd rather be Snake.
But you're not going to be Snake. You're
just
going
to be in the world.
I'm just going to be in the world. So Snake's going to die. You know what I mean? So I just rather be in the world. Snake dies and have it be that. But also, do you really want to be in Days Gone world? Let's be honest. You know what
I mean, that is the question. Is like, are you saying, do I want to be in a horrible post-apocalyptic world in which everyone I know and love has died, and
freakers galore, you know?
Yeah, and there's like no resources left, and if you don't have antibiotics,
Sounds like
you die.
And
good. It's like I always think in these games, like people should be dropping dead of like UTIs and like basic shit like that,
right?
And,
exactly.
Like, infections of wounds and things. Random little diseases that you get. I mean, the flu. What if you got the flu or COVID or something like that? Right. And it's like,
you're done.
Yeah, you get pneumonia. Shit, you're done without hospital. Done. So, yeah, and I'm kind of squeamish with medical stuff. So I wouldn't like imagine breaking your leg and then having someone to have to set it for you without any kind of medical knowledge or equipment or drugs or anything like that. No antibiotics. I'm like, oh no, I'd rather can I just not be in that world? I'll just play it on screen and like just not actually be in that world.
I'll take it. Rob, what's your next question?
Would you rather be a ripper or a freaker? So the question is, so if you don't know what a freaker is, I think Claire could actually describe this better than I can. But Claire, what is the difference between a freaker and a ripper for our fans?
A freaker is someone who is infected with the hooligan virus. They are basically, that's what it's called. They're basically zombies. They're not actually zombies because they haven't died. They are still alive, but they are infected. It's kind of like in The Last of Us where you have the runners and the clickers. They're not technically zombies. They're not technically dead, but they are infected with the disease.
Whatever's making them berserk. They're still human. Right. They're still there, but they're
still
not
human, but they're savage. And we don't know.
Do they have a conscience?
They don't really, but there's some lore in the game that talks about how they are maybe regaining consciousness or like self-awareness, awareness of their old lives. So they are, but they're basically they're like fast zombies, very vicious.
They're alive zombies. They're alive zombies.
Yeah. And then the Rippers are a cult of people who worship the freaks. They want to be like them. They have this whole kind of mythos of forgetting and giving up who you are, your identity, and the I guess the sort of beauty of becoming like the freaks so that you don't remember what you've lost. So it's kind of like a way of almost dealing with
coping
and the grief and everything. And it attracts a lot of weirdos, a lot of bad people are involved in this, not to give any spoilers, but you kind of get the idea there's a lot of like regret and restarting your life. You get a second chance in the apocalypse. It's a second chance. And it's weird and culty, and they cut themselves and carve letters into their heads. And the name it comes from R.I.P., rest in peace, but Rippers, that's where their name comes from. They're fucking weird, and they're actually really good enemies because they carry a lot of loot. They're really hard to kill, and they carry a lot of loot, so they're pretty badass. But they're like high on like a PCP type substance. Sure. I think it's not really spelled out in the game, but I think it's something to do with the freaks, some of their residue. So they're almost like infecting themselves to get kind of high or to become more freak-like. They are very fucked up. but they're not actually infected. So I would definitely choose to be Ripper over a freak.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, everything you just said, I would agree.
Wait, you would rather be a Ripper than a Freaker?
I think so. I mean, if I'm in that world and I'm coping with everything that I've lost, I mean, granted, you're saying freakers have some type of self-awareness, so they're dealing with this virus already, or like this disease, and they're let's just say they are self-aware. Like you're struggling with that like 24/7. You know what I mean?
You probably killed your family if you're a freak.
Right.
You probably tore your neighbors, ate them, killed the family
knowing
dog.
that you did that. Yeah.
No, yeah, and if you have any residual memory, you murdered your girlfriend, your wife, your husband, your mother,
that's rough.
your kids.
Yeah, that's a Ripper. That's Ripper all day.
Where when you're a Ripper, you have that. You're still yourself, but
they're just human survivors. They're human survivors that have fallen into a cult, and the cult is trying to forget the old world and and it has like a leader who's like. I don't want to give any spoilers, but he's very much full of himself and a bit of an asshole. So it's like you're making a bad choice. You've fallen into a cult. You're not really worshipping this person, but you're following someone who is not a good person. But you didn't eat your family.
Exactly. And there's an off chance that you could come back and actually become a normal person. Whereas if you're a freaker, you're already you're done. You're done.
There is a character in the game who goes through that. So you definitely can escape the cult.
He's trying to reel us back in. I see you.
I like it. I like it. Claire, last question here. Would you rather have Days Gone 2 be released, but none of the previous characters in the game are there, or get just a small DLC to the original Days Gone?
Ooh.
So Days Gone 2, no characters from the previous game, or get a DLC.
That's a good question. DLC makes more sense, but honestly, I would want a new game, because the worst case scenario is it comes out and it sucks, and I play it and I'm like, that sucks.
Oh, just play Days Gone.
I'll just go back to the first one. And I never need to play it again. I mean, kind of like The Last of Us. The Last of Us Part 2, fantastic game. I enjoy playing it. Great gameplay, mechanics, and the world and everything was cool. I did not care for the story. I know a lot of people
compared to one. Yeah, hands up.
Had a lot of issues with the story. I'm kind of like, it was. I understand what it was going for, but I'm not going to replay that game.
Right.
But I'm glad I did play it. I'm glad I had the opportunity. It was a fun game. It was well worth the 25,
something
35
like that.
Hours, whatever I put into it. So yeah, I would definitely. It would be fun to have a DLC, but I feel like a second game is more likely to get more playable hours from me, more enjoyment. If they did a good. I mean, shit. That's the question. Is it going to be a good game? Are they going to do a good job? Because if so, Days Gone 2 all the way. Definitely.
Right, because I feel like if you got a DLC anyways for Days Gone, it would still want you having more. You'd be like, I still want part 2. I still want part 2, right? So, yeah,
definitely.
I think for you, it would make sense as a DLC, right? Because I mean, I know you want Days Gone 2, but like you said, it could very well suck. Plus, you're not getting your the previous cast, so it's like you're getting like this new like iteration of it. And I mean, it's a hit or miss, right? Whereas at least with a DLC, you're getting more of what you love, right? So I don't know, but
it's a tricky question. I like the question.
Yeah, for sure.
You're on the gamble, with that.
Real quick before we leave, I just want your thoughts, because I know you talked about this in your last episode with like your like Days Gone 2 wish list, right?
Right.
Like, what and for our viewers, if you could kind of like maybe reiterate some of the stuff you said, but what would you like for a Days Gone 2? Let's say Sony announced Days Gone 2 at the State of Play that we just had. Like, what would a Days Gone 2 look like for you?
Yeah, what are your top 3 things that you want in Days Gone 2 that wasn't in? Yeah, what do you want?
Honestly, I would kind of want it to be. I would almost want it to be new characters or some of the minor characters from the first game.
Take a back seat. Okay.
Almost to do kind of like the new Star Wars was sort of a soft reboot of the old Star Wars. It was kind of like the same story, but like a continuation of, like, it's in the same universe. So there's a character, Lisa, who's in the first game, who is very clearly set up to be a protagonist. She's like a mini Deacon. So she, at the end of the first game, she's like where Deacon was at the beginning of the game. So it's like she would be a logical step to be a new character that you have to sort of build up through skills and through experience and through opening up the world. She's very inexperienced, so it would make sense to have her be the main character.
Right.
Apart from that, more of the same. more answers to questions about the lore would be great. More continuation of it, and really don't change too much.
I think
that's what I asked. Don't change too much because it's right in the sweet spot.
Okay.
As far as locale goes, where it's going to be, I think you said on your podcast that Colorado would be a good option.
Yeah. I mean, Colorado would be cool, but it's very similar to the original. I mean, the original set in Oregon. I think I would like to see California. I would like to see some cities, but not have it be solely in a city. So you still have some of the desert areas, or even somewhere like Yosemite, something like that. You still have the beautiful wilderness, but then you could be maybe in San Francisco or something.
The redwoods
like that.
would be sick.
Redwood
forest
would be
that
really
would be
cool.
Actually really, really cool to do that.
Interesting. That would be really dope. That would be really dope. Claire, thank you again. Thank you so much for coming and joining us on our podcast. Where can people find you? For those that don't know you, where can they find you?
Sure. I am on Instagram. My name on Instagram is 8_bitterror. I'm on YouTube, 8-Bit Terror. And I have a Twitter, but I never use it, so don't look me up there. But it's Days Gone Podcast.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for listening. Rob, anything before we leave?
No, again, thank you, Claire, so much for joining our podcast. Really appreciate the time you spent, and I think we had a great time talking games and Days Gone. Again, every time we talk to you, it's like you're reeling us back in to try that game, and it's just
it's what I do. It's what I love.
Yeah. So thanks for that. To our viewers, please, if leave a 5-star review on your favorite streaming service. It really does help us out.
Do it.
And yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
Yeah, thank you guys. This has been fun. I've really appreciated you inviting me on here, and
anytime.
Had a blast.
Anytime.
Listen,
well, thank you guys for listening. Episode 88. Until next time. See you guys.
See ya.